Aside from where we are right now, aside from the orange that you have on, tell me about Katie. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Walk me through that.
Okay. I grew up in New England. Actually, I grew up in Vermont. I'm an older brother, just me and him, growing up with my mom and dad. Pretty normal childhood, I have to say. Played a lot of sports and was active in school. You know, I did well. I had a great family, good support. You know, we ate dinner together every night. My dad was a football coach. Like it was a nice childhood growing up. In my teen years, I started getting a little insecure about who I was, and you know, not fitting in, and kind of started hanging out with the wrong crowd. So that ended up spiraling out of control, definitely in college. But I ended up going to a 4-year school. Got my undergrad degree, but you know, I was always drinking heavily there, not doing as well as I could have done, but I did graduate. Probably about 10 years ago is when things started kind of getting out of hand for me. I was married, and we transferred. I lived in Florida prior to being married, and he was in the Navy, so we got transferred to California. So once we got a divorce, I ended up coming back to California, or excuse me, coming back to Florida to continue the training in the field that I was in, and stay with my family. My mom and dad live here. The divorce was long and pretty treacherous for me. My self-esteem issues came back up again, self-worth, self-esteem, things of that nature, and I turned to prescription pain pills that were prescribed to me for a back issue that I had, and I started abusing those. And then I happened to work in the healthcare field. I worked in cardiothoracic surgery, so unfortunately I had access to my drug of choice and started using from work. And it was an everyday thing pretty quickly. I ended up starting to use intravenously about 2 years into the drug use, and it just kind of spiraled out of control from there. I started stealing from work. Not performing well at work. Nobody knew. I didn't use with anybody. It was just me, myself, to kind of get out of my head, and my life just definitely took a bad turn real quickly. And I ended up getting really sick due to intravenous use at work, and I ended up passing out at work, and that's how everybody found out. It was pretty mortifying, actually. I had it's called a TIA, it's a small stroke, and ended up being admitted to the hospital that I worked at. So my family had to fly out and live with me because I was alone at the time. So that's when we kind of decided it was time for me to come back to Florida and restart my life, but it didn't happen that way. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to shake it once I got back to Florida, started using again. And that's where I got into methamphetamines, was in Florida. And that was about 3 years ago, and it's been probably the worst 3 years of my life. I gave everything away, and you know, I didn't see my family for a very long time, and that precipitated the events that led me here. Unfortunately, you know, drug-motivated crimes are real, and it's sad, but that's the situation, so. That's where I'm at. It took over my life real quickly. Like I said, once I started doing methamphetamines, it was really scary how quickly things turned for me. I thought I had control during all of it, which is the scary part. You know, with a clear head now, I'll have 7 months clean next week. It's the longest I've had clean in 10 years. You know, looking back with a clear head now, I can see how not in control clearly I was of my life, and I hope to never be back there again, because it's a scary way to be. Getting arrested saved my life, literally saved my life. I overdosed not 2 days before I got arrested. Was Narcaned twice and ended up in Manatee Hospital alone. You know, walked out with no shoes, no shirt, and nowhere to go. And that was my lowest of the low. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I got arrested the next day, and I've been here ever since. So it was necessary. You know, it was, they say, an adult-sized timeout. It saved my life. I haven't, you know, I've I pray to God every day to lift the obsession, and He has. And now it's time to work on me. It's time to, do the hard work.